The Declaration of Independence connects to education because both are about freedom and figuring out things for yourself. The Declaration talks about everyone having the right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and education. When you learn stuff, you get to think for yourself instead of just believing whatever someone tells you. It's kind of your own independence. In a way, school is where people learn how to be free thinkers, which is pretty much what the Declaration of Independence was all about in the first place.
In New Mexico, we live in a huge community where each child goes to school to learn. But in 2019, New Mexico's test scores began to decline. By 2024, students faced their lowest reading scores ever and saw unpredicted drops in math. The lasting impact of 2019 played a role. But despite the challenges, test scores continue to fall year after year, reaching record lows. This is not just a statistic. It is called to action.
American Federation of Teachers, as you look at the year ahead, what do you see as the biggest challenges facing teachers this school year?
I think what's happened is the same problems that afflict the nation afflict schools.
A dollar that is not spent in the classroom is a dollar wasted.
You believe that money's not being spent in the classroom?
No, I think a lot of it is spent on bureaucracy, on a lot of useless programs. Put that money directly in the classroom. You know, we had a much better school system. Teachers were in charge of their classrooms, principals were in charge of their teachers, and when school boards were in charge of their principals. That system worked really well. As power has devolved first to state capitals and then to Washington, our schools have deteriorated dramatically. We need to ask a very simple question. Has the quality of public education in America increased with the Department of Education or declined? And the answer is screaming at us. It's declined. It's declined rather dramatically. Clearly, the Department of Education in Washington is not helping. I think it's actually hurting.
We are going to be speaking with my English honors teacher from Public Academy for Performing Arts, known as PAPAS. So tell me, do you think that we are doing our best as a school for learning education? Do you think we are excelling or are we decreasing?
You know, that's a interesting question for me to answer because I've been teaching for almost 20 years. So I've taught in 5 other states. So while I do have a lot to compare it to, I actually don't have a lot to compare it to within the scope of New Mexico. And so when people ask about, student success, they're often talking about test scores. The limited measure on student success. We score very high at PAPA in our test scores. A lot of things determine how well students can do on standardized tests, and part of that is resources. So from a very, very young age, students are negatively impacted by resources that are far beyond their control, far beyond school's control, and oftentimes families' control. So for a child to be enrolled at a charter school, their parents and guardians have access to resources that a lot of other families might not. And so while we do test really well here at PAPA, and that does indicate, I have seen survey results that our students report being happy at school, being proud of their work. And I think those measures are just as important.
Right.
What kind of support do teachers in New Mexico receive, such as training, resources, or funding to help students succeed?
So I can speak to myself. New Mexico, as a New Mexico teacher, I go to many trainings and professional developments, PDs. A lot of the time, this is usually after school. We're working with professionals to learn about new tools, new technologies, better ways to serve our students. I just went to a training on how to incorporate students' culture into the classroom, how to use AI in the classroom, and really just how we can incorporate emergent technology. That's really my big passion. Funding-wise, we receive state money, so state taxes pay for us. We also receive and can apply for grants to receive money for funding, like buying new computers. And all of that is really to help students succeed and be great kids.
Audrey Guthrie. So, Audrey, how do you feel about schools in New Mexico?
I think schools in New Mexico suck, like really bad. And if you want to know why, it's because the education sucks. Teachers don't get paid enough either, and it's just not good. New Mexico schooling, it's not good.
Okay, well, thank you for your time here.
You're welcome.